Zack Snyder said some real interesting things.
Beverly Hills Cop 2.
On the Joe Rogan podcast.
Yes.
And
that I have not heard yet.
I wanted to talk about them because where I started to be angry and upset with like, why would you say that? This sounds like you don't understand. Then to eventually, by the end of the things that I've seen, the clips that I heard, I was like, oh, I just don't think this guy's that smart. And I don't mean he's dumb. I just think that like he's just, I don't know. He seems to always enjoy the wrong things about these properties, and we'll kind of get into that. We'll also talk about a Peacemaker Season 2 update, and then we'll also talk about Willie's Chocolate Experience.
Yes.
What a story, let me tell you. So first, let's talk about Zack Snyder. Oh, sorry, I should have waited. I didn't know you were going for that.
I didn't know I was going to do a drum roll, really.
I have some clips
to
play. So he went on Joe Rogan's podcast. They talked for about 2 hours. I did not watch the whole podcast or listen to the whole podcast.
So full disclosure.
Well, and I watched longer videos of what he was saying, and these clips aren't super long, but I think I kind of get the essence of what he was saying in the context of it. Yeah. And I just he's such a weird dude to understand as an artist, in my opinion. And I'm not.
There's something about him that just precludes saying he's an auteur. You know what I mean? Like, there's just something about it. Like, I'm not gonna ever put him on the same level as like a Scorsese or anything like that. I'm just not.
Because I mean, like they talked about.
There's something too commercial about his.
So I didn't have a
stuff.
I didn't have a clip of it, but he does talk about the Snyder Cut and all of the director's cut stuff. And he said that originally it was for him to get a following on home video, where people would rent the director's cut at the video store, and then like it kind of started there. And but his explanation with all the director's cuts is that it's his response to the studio saying like, okay, I'll let you have your cut, your commercial version of this movie, and then I'll have my cut. Which, okay, fine. But with the whole thing with Netflix, I still don't understand that decision. Because Netflix let you have whatever. If you wanted to make a 3-hour movie, they would let you do it. Scorsese has a 3.5. The Irishman is 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Like, they would put that up. Yeah. They would probably let you do a Snyder Cut 4-hour cut if you wanted. Mm-hmm. And like, I just like some of those things I just don't understand. Like, just make the fucking movie you want to make. Because I'm so sick of because he always says it's like it's a response to the studio and how people view it. And then it's just silly to me. Like, you can't keep making the second chance version of like, well, you didn't like that because the studio did this, and then here's mine. You know, that exists. That absolutely exists. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the time, in my opinion, when it comes, especially how he handles DC, I think it was better when someone would say, "No, you can't do this, you can't do that," because
let's break it down. I really enjoyed his fresh take on Superman. I really did. Man of Steel.
I liked Man of Steel.
I still like it.
I liked Batman v Superman.
So did I.
I have the ultimate cut.
I love the. I remember watching the Snyder Cut and being like, "Awesome! This is what we should have had."
I liked the Snyder Cut.
I did too. I have no problems with it. My issue more than anything was, and that's not really his fault, but I don't know. I feel like he could have had more of a just come out and been like, "Hey, stop this." Yeah. Stop this haranguing and everything.
Yeah.
But to be fair to Zack Snyder, Warner Brothers fucking sucks a big fat dick.
No,
okay?
yeah, they're terrible.
So fucking to be fair to Snyder, right?
And I don't think and they handled the tragedy that he had to deal with poorly in my opinion.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Again, I don't hate Snyder.
No.
I don't. I just think that he doesn't understand the more
his way of looking at art is different than mine, and that's okay.
And the more he talked about Justice League, more he talked about Batman, which we'll highlight here, these first 2 clips, the more that he talks about these characters, I just don't. I understand where he's coming from, because he keeps coming from the angle of he wants to break these characters apart and break them down and subvert things. That's great. But he also has to accept what he was doing just wasn't connecting and wasn't working. And I just don't think that he ever dealt, like, it's okay to look at those movies and say they suck. If people don't like them, I understand why they don't like them.
Yeah. I enjoyed them.
But I like them.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, I don't know. It's just almost like he acts like, I don't know. It's so confusing with him because, I don't dislike him. I do think he has a creative vision, but he always works better when there's someone else working with him.
Yeah,
because I didn't like Sucker Punch. I
never
haven't watched Rebel Moon.
I never
probably
saw
won't.
Sucker Punch, but somebody told me it was really pretty, but it was nothing.
Army of the Dead was a disappointing movie for me because there's so many things I liked about that movie, and then it just failed. It sets up well, and then just falls apart. And I wanted to like that movie. So I want people to get that
what's
across.
A movie
let's let's dive into the clips.
Okay, all right.
Because we're spending a lot of time with the
because he did 300.
So the big clips,
right?
Yes.
So was
and
that
the
like
Dawn
the
of
last...
the Dead remake?
Oh, and Watchmen. I liked Watchmen.
I have the director's cut of Watchmen.
Right. I liked that.
I'm coming, and that's what I mean. I'm coming from an angle of someone who actually does
There's
like
a lot of
some
people
of his
who
movies.
didn't like that.
But anyway, here's the first clip that I have, and this is the one that's probably gotten the most traction on Twitter. Was like circling around. He was kind of explaining why his Batman was killed, why he did that, and
wait, what?
Why Batman killed in his movies?
Oh, killed people.
Yes,
got it. Okay, I thought. Sorry, the way you worded it, I was like, what?
Anyway,
okay.
And he's kind of explaining what he wanted to do with like the deconstructing the characters and things like that.
And it's because I care that I want to take them apart. Like, I want Batman. Like, people are always like, well, Batman can't kill, right? So Batman can't kill is canon. And I'm like, okay, well, the first thing I want to do when you say that is I want to see what happens. And they go like, well, don't put him in a situation where he has to kill someone. I'm like, well, that's just like you're protecting your God in a weird way, right? You're making your God irrelevant if he can't be in that situation. He has to now deal with that.
Yeah.
You know, if he does do that, what does that mean? What does it tell you? But does he stand up to it? Can he survive that? Right? As a God, as your God, can Batman survive that?
Okay. So what's interesting about this clip and why I have two of this particular topic because
I have something very, very
because
specific
the follow-up
to say
that
about this.
The follow-up to that is how he says like
Listen,
so he doesn't so he this all grows from the thing where he aped a scene from The Dark Knight Returns where there's a mutant holding a hostage.
Right.
And Batman shoots him. Right? In Zack's movie, Batman v Superman, the guy dies because he's got the flamethrower. He shoots him in the head. He dies, whatever. He's like, I'll kill her. He goes, I believe you. And he shoots the dude in the head. It doesn't do that in the Frank Miller book. Zack Snyder said that, like, talked about it on that podcast like it was in the book. It wasn't because it's mentioned later that mutant was alive. And then later in that book, Batman breaks guns and says, we will not use guns. We will not use tools of the enemy. Like... So again, that doesn't seem like he understands what makes the character
right.
know?
And here's why you're a shitty Batman writer.
Oh,
because good Batman writers put him in situations where he has to kill all the time.
He always gets out of it,
right?
And that's what people kept pointing
because
out
he's
about this
fucking
clip.
Batman.
Yes.
So if you're putting Batman in a situation and you're thinking is that the only way out of it is that he has to kill somebody, you're a shitty writer. You're a shitty writer, and you should have nothing to do with Batman. Having said that, I really did enjoy Batfleck. I did enjoy Batfleck quite a bit.
But
and I am not one of those idiots who's like, Batman can't kill. I don't give a shit if Batman kills or not. I really don't. I fucking do not give a shit.
But I'm just saying, like, whatever the justification would be,
right?
There's reasons in the canon.
But it's cool that he can't or he doesn't, right? It's cool that he doesn't use guns. But that's what makes him sets him apart.
The whole point.
Didn't Nolan have him use guns?
The whole point is he's trying to end a cycle of violence.
Yes.
By preserving life.
Didn't Nolan have him using guns?
No.
What did he use? He didn't have guns on the...
Yeah, like for grappling and shit, but he never used guns.
Okay, cool.
No.
I meant on his vehicles, not him personally.
Oh, I don't remember if he had anything.
No?
Like that. I think the tumbler just broke through buildings.
That's
and shit.
what I thought. Like,
Well,
he
he had guns on his bike. I don't know. I think he had guns on the fucking tumbler. You know what? I need to rewatch him.
You know
I
what?
I
Yeah.
gotta figure it out.
Well, because I mean, Nolan. If
But-
I remember correctly, Nolan wasn't super. I mean, he was pretty close to the source material, but he strayed in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have surprised me at all if one of them was that he had guns like on the tumbler or on the.
Yes, but
or
you
on
could
the,
just say they were pellets, like rubber
and
pellets.
honestly, like, I know that he. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, realistically, Batman is definitely
Look,
killed. He's definitely killed people with how destructive his Batmobile has been. He's definitely killed people.
Yes.
No, but the thing that bothered me about that was just the fact that what he said was you're making your god irrelevant, which is bullshit because that has been his cornerstone of the character, and he's still the most popular. It's Batman and Spider-Man. Superman, you could argue being there too, but you know we've said it for so long. Like when you think of DC, it's Batman. When you think of Marvel, it's Spider. So like those movies are gonna make money. People love that character, and I understand where he is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And a narrative decision to kind of like, I want to try something different and break down these characters and do them. But like, it's just silly to me to say that he wouldn't find a way out of that situation without killing someone because he would. Because
he's
Batman.
fucking Batman.
Because you know what? In real life, he probably would shoot that guy. But we're not talking about real life. We're talking about
fucking comic book and a movie.
talking about the DC fucking universe.
Yes.
Come on.
It's a fucking movie and it's a fictional character.
Batman always does it.
And so we can
and there's ways to subvert that character without killing
so
someone.
and again, my whole point is that Zach, you are a shitty writer. If you think that you have to make him kill people,
yeah.
Or if you think that the only way out of certain situations, first of all, why are you putting him in those situations? And if you are gonna, or why are you putting him in those situations? B, if you are, you ought to have the fucking balls to have the fucking the talent to write him out of that without killing somebody. And if you don't have that talent, you have no business writing Batman stories. And guess what? I have no business writing Batman stories either.
I have a great recent example. I have a great,
I'm not a good writer.
A great recent
Songwriter,
example.
but not.
Great recent example of Batman not killing and being successful. It's called The Fucking Batman.
Uh-huh.
Matt Reeves proved it not that long ago. Speaking of which, did you see that got delayed another year? It's going to be 26.
I need to watch that again.
October of 2026. I don't remember the exact
The movie I watched yesterday changed my life.
All right, here's clip number 2. We're
Okay.
still talking about Batman. So remember what he said
Like,
earlier
stop talking about the others.
shooting the guy because, he had to. He kind of elaborates more, but then also like defeats the whole purpose of what he was saying.
Lay down his gun. What's he going to do? Like it's the guy says to him, "I'll do it. I swear it."
I believe you is perfect.
Yeah, I believe you. And
I
then,
believe you. Yeah.
So I'm just like, that's where like Frank Deakins takes Batman and just tears him in half.
Yeah.
And you've got to now come out the other side of that. And Batman is still the hero. Batman still does the right thing. He maintains his code, he doesn't change.
No, he doesn't.
But like our perception of him changes.
Okay.
No, he does change
He
because
does-
he's killed, you fucking idiot. If he's never killed
Again,
before, he doesn't just fucking blow it
the
off
story-
like, oh, no big deal.
The story that he's citing, he doesn't kill that guy.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it proves against his point.
Dude,
Because it's not the right thing.
Yes. It is a weak fucking writer who makes the anti-hero type
You know what?
of
And he
heroes.
And he doesn't understand. He thinks the act of violence makes them the hero in this situation. No. The choice to preserve life at any chance he can
And still,
makes him more heroic.
And still be the hero and save the day.
Still serving justice.
Yeah. Hey, here's a perfect example. I've been told that using I'm not putting myself on the level of like Zack Snyder, but I've been told that using curse words in my music is a crutch, and one that I don't need, and some people might view that as like, oh, it's a weak songwriting, whatever. I don't necessarily think that, but I could totally see why. And I know, Zach, that you don't want to believe that you're using it as a crutch, but weak fucking writers do use crutches. I don't use curse words as a crutch, so I can see why he wants to defend himself, but you also just maybe own up to the fact that you wanted to see a Batman that killed instead of saying, I wanted to deconstruct the character. Just say you wanted to see a Batman who killed.
And also,
and I'm aware of the fact that I basically called myself a weak fucking writer.
So then things get weird.
Have at it, trolls, you fuckers.
While talking about the Snyder Cut, he talks about how the Barbie movie referenced him in a joke where Ken was dreaming about the 4-hour Snyder Cut. He's like, I thought that was funny. And then he goes on to talk about Rebel Moon and say, what's funny about that, too, is like, in a way, more people saw Rebel Moon than Barbie. And the level... Listen. The level of math that he is about to explain to you says a lot.
Is kind of about the same way he's explaining how Batman can kill.
You think about like Netflix, for instance, where like you push a button and like, Rebel Moon, right? The zeitgeist is crazy because like Rebel Moon, so say right now there's like, it's like almost 90 million views, right? 90 million people, 90 million starts. So, or 90 million accounts turned it on. Okay. Give or take. They assume 2 viewers per screening, right? That's the kind of math. So you think if that movie was in the theater as a distribution model, so that's 160 million people supposedly watching based on that math. So 160 million people at $10 a ticket would be, what is that math? I don't know. 160 million times 10. That's 1.6 billion, So like you look at the view numbers, you can use that rough, so more people probably saw Rebel Moon than saw Barbie in the theater, right?
More people. He did all of that math to try and explain to us that more people saw Rebel Moon than Barbie.
The last time Elvis came out with a record, he sold a certain number of copies. But I'm on Spotify, and if you look at it, Spotify has how many accounts? 180 million accounts. So if you look at it, I mean, I've been listened to by like 180 million like people, and they assume like 2 people per account, right, per headphone, right?
Yeah.
So like that's what. That's like 172
well, is it Bluetooth
billion.
Headphone or wired headphone?
So I fucking sold goddamn Elvis based on that fucking math, you jackass motherfucker.
Okay, so things get weird.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Then things get really weird. I didn't include this clip. He talked.
One more thing. Sorry, one more thing. You using the word zeitgeist to describe this movie of yours is wrong. That other one that you did, like 300, definitely zeitgeist.
Zeited as geist.
Yeah, that fucking geisted the fuck out of the shit out of the geist. You know what I'm saying? And the whole Snyder Cut. Yeah. Zeitin up your fucking geist all day, right?
Yeah.
But not this one. Barbie was zeitgeist. Not this movie of yours.
Of geist.
That one zeited the shit out of that geist. But you, sir, I know zeitgeist. And you are no zeitgeist.
You're a zeitgeist infection.
You're kind of a...
No, I'm just kidding.
You are.
But things get weird.
Doesn't that make sense, right?
Yeah. So things get really...
I know what he's saying, but nobody is fucking talking about Rebel Moon like they talked about Barbie. Yeah. Nobody.
No.
Guess what? Rebel Moon didn't piss anybody off. Okay? Rebel Moon didn't change anybody's ways of thinking and go, wow, I've never even seen something from that perspective. Fucking Barbie did all those things. So, nice try there, buddy. Right. Nice try to, hey, you know what? I'm just as good as Elvis. No, I'm not. And I know that. I would never say something such a jackass.
So this one is kind of Zach just being reckless as a director.
Sure.
This other clip was circling around. He was talking about his son being in Watchmen. His son plays young Rorschach.
Oh, right.
In that flashback scene with his mom, where she was like, she beats him because she's a prostitute. She's with the John.
Yeah, I've seen the movie.
So in that scene, Zach wanted her to be topless. the actress playing his mom. And he kind of explains the incident, and again, it's really reckless and weird, and this whole interview is weird.
There was a scene that we did in that movie where because Rorschach's mom was a prostitute, right? So there's that scene where Rorschach's mom in the flashbacks like, I should have had that abortion, right? And she slaps him in the face, right? Because he hears, Mom, is he hurting you? Like, because she's having sex with some John in there. And then she opens the door and she's like, he's like, is he hurting you? I should have had that abortion, slapped him. And I had wanted the mother to be topless in that scene. And they were like, nah, like, you can't have. And it's cool because his mother was visiting set that day. And his mom was there, and she was like, oh, you're putting our son in a movie? Like, we weren't together at the time, his mom and I, but we're really close friends. But like, she was an actress, and I said, and they went, the only way that the woman could be topless is if it was actually his mom. And I was like, I go, Denise. And she was like, no chance.
Just reckless, man, and like weird. Why would you insist to have her be topless in this movie? Which she's not topless in the book.
Hey Zach, can I school you a little bit? Lots of people have sex with like most of their clothes on. You don't necessarily have to be naked or topless to have sex.
I think it's weird to expose your 10-year-old to a grown woman's breasts. It's kind of weird. Just weird. This is all I'm saying. It's just weird. Shouldn't do it.
Yeah. I mean,
like they're not. It's not like they're not going to see nudity, but you're not. It's just weird that you were like vying to be like, I want this woman topless in front of my underage child.
If my kid is like, hey, I want to be in one of your movies, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna pick a part that is not very big and that is very, very like kind of not a big, huge part in the movie. So that he doesn't like necessarily get exposed to a bunch of shit because he doesn't need to fucking be exposed to that shit yet.
Yeah, he doesn't need to. It's weird.
I can pick another role for him.
It's crazy enough that he's
right?
even in.
I'm gonna pick the role where this adult woman slaps him, even though it's stage shit,
and says that I should have had an
yeah.
abortion.
What in the fuck is wrong with you, you fucking maniac?
That is in the book.
What?
That dialogue is in the book.
No, I know, but why would you have your kid be the one that it's said to, even though it's acting? I don't.
And then
I
with
just
her
don't.
tits out too. It's like
I
come
just
on.
don't. What the fuck you doing to your kid, man? I don't. What's wrong with you, dude? I don't understand it. Anyway.
So the final clip is where I start to laugh because Zack Snyder is a big Ayn Rand fan.
Of course,
he really wants to make the Fountainhead.
Fucking
I
go
don't
for
have a
it,
clip
you
for that.
jackass.
But the more he talks about the Spartan,
more I hear him,
they talked about 300.
Yeah.
So of course they talk about Spartan culture. And the more that he talks about Spartan culture, the more I'm like, I understand why you want to make the Fountainhead. And it's kind of a weird, again, really weird conversation.
And like in the hills, you knew there was just like this.
He's talking about the training of the young Spartans and
13-year-old gang of 13-year-olds that were going to just come down and murder you at any moment.
And they were encouraged to murder
And they were encouraged to do it because they like, and also the Helots were fine. If the Helots killed them, that was fine because that meant that they weren't good enough anyway. And then they would have this like, they did this ritual with this like table of cheese where like all these Spartan warriors would stand around the table and all the 13-year-olds who were ready to like transition to becoming true Spartans, you'd have to like try and get and pull a piece of cheese off this stone table. And the Spartan warriors who guarded the table could do anything to stop you. And it was just like just beating the crap out of these 13-year-olds. And finally, like, if you got it, then you were given to a Spartan soldier who raised you. And basically the idea was that he was your lover, he was your teacher, he was everything to you. Because the Spartans believed that, they believed that you would die for your brother if you were also lovers. They thought that like if you were confused about why we're fighting, fight for that guy.
Well, because you put your dick in his ass?
Yeah.
That is no reason to save another man's life. None. whatsoever. There are better reasons to save another man's life, and one of them is definitely not because you put your penis in his anus.
Or vice versa.
We're not talking about that. The fuck is wrong with you? What a fucking jackass.
Oh, by the way,
Dude,
13-year-olds,
dude,
too.
you
They're
know-
underage.
Dude, can you believe it, man? They used to be able to beat
Okay.
and fuck 13-year-olds. That's what he said.
He's like...
He's enamored of the fact they used to
Look,
get beat
now, hold on.
and fuck 13-year-olds.
I'm not saying he's agreeing with that at all. I'm not
It
saying
sounded
he's...
like he really thought it was
but
cool.
he sounds really enthusiastic
Right?
about it. But I also like to point out, he's like yes, we in our society we have built this mythological thing about Spartans. And I'm not saying that Spartans were these great militaristic culture, but like great in terms of like they were a strong army. Yeah, they were, because it was a fucking fascistic police state.
Yes. So go fuck yourself.
Do you hear how, like, the way that the Helots were slaves? So they'd conquer people, enslave them, and then just kill them at will because they're fucking bored. Because they're war-hungry early humans. Like, we didn't understand that, hey, we can't just go around just brutalizing and killing each other.
Yes.
Still haven't learned that as a society. But
yeah, I don't understand. Like, look, as a trope and as a kind of as a fantasy story, 300 is great.
Spartans are, again, there's that mythology. Like, there's so many
Sure.
teams that are named the Spartans because that's a
Sure.
sign of power and strength
Right.
and the greatest warriors.
Right, but do we want to lionize their way of life? Fuck to the no. That baby's ugly. Throw it off the cliff. Are you fucking kidding
that
me?
baby can't survive. Throw it off a cliff.
What? What?
Oh, and then when it does, you're 7, go in the woods and kill some animals and then learn how to hunt and
And
survive.
if you die,
If you
then
die,
fuck
you die.
you.
I don't give a
Fuck
shit.
you. I don't give a shit.
What kind of society is that?
That's not a society I want to live in, and I'm hoping we'll get some trouble.
But to like talk about that in a weird way, like it just
dude, he was touching himself when he was talking about that. I think.
you'd fight for your brother if he was also your lover. What? Which explains why.
Look, if you've
that
had your- if
explains
you've
why
had
300 is so homo.
If you've had your dick in another man's mouth, that's a reason to save his life. But in his ass, no. Come on.
all right.
That was strangely perfect context for that.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't even want to imagine what kind of discotheque in Germany that's happening in right now.
All right, so
We're gonna get so
we're
sued.
gonna get Larry David is be like, what is this shit?
Pretty
shit.
sloppy.
Oh,
Do you got it? Wait. Get ready.
no.
Get it ready. Okay.
Okay.
Pretty. Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.